Hi, Amy with Fashion Toppings here, and I'm gonna do a little refashion. I actually got this shirt, it was from Hut 8, and it was originally $16. It's a resale price. The brand is actually Tiger Woods Golf, and it's a 2XL. So it's too big, but they were getting rid of their inventory. Everything was $1 in the store, so I got a bunch of stuff. I got this for the fabric. Now, holding it up to me, this print is pretty bold. I originally was just going to, bring the shoulders up and make it fit like a regular polo. But then I decided that I probably wouldn't wear it because of the color up against me. Look at how wild this is. The print is just a little too wild to be up by my face, and the color is not that flattering. So what I thought, and I bought this as a refashion. I didn't buy it because I liked it or anything. I just want to have some fun with it. So I decided that I can always wear a white t-shirt with it. I'm gonna make this into, look how big it is. I'm gonna make it into a skirt. And I'm gonna save the sleeves, and I'm gonna use the sleeves as pockets. So I'm gonna cut the sleeves off, and I'm gonna use that fabric as a pocket. And I'm gonna cut this up and make it into a skirt. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing I want to do right now, because I haven't decided actually the length that I want the dress. For those of you actually follow my channel, most of you know I kind of make it up as I go, and that's the fun part of refashioning. So I'm going to start cutting it apart, and then I'll put it on. I'll decide what length I want it, but the first thing I need to do is I need to cut off these sleeves. So I'm gonna get a scissors. Don't bother taking the time to seam rip the sleeves. We're just gonna cut those puppies off. Okay, so cut both of the sleeves off and set them aside. Okay, and now that I have no sleeves, cut the sleeves off. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save this collar for another project. So I am going to cut off the collar. Leaving a little bit of extra fabric. So when I do another project, that I'll have a seam allowance so I can reattach it. Okay, so I took out the collar. Now, that neckline's big enough. So I'm gonna slide myself into this and to see the length and see if I like the length. And if you can't fit through the neck hole, then just cut down the shoulder seams to make the hole bigger. And all I did is just cut it wider. See, I just made it wider so that I can slip it on and I can see what length that I'm gonna want it. Because I may want it to be like a bodycon all the way, middle of my calves. I think that's called T-length. I might want it to be a long skirt. I may not like it, and I may just make it a comfy, like, golfing skirt. It is Tiger Woods, so I could make it a regular golfing skirt. Having a nice comfy skirt right to my knees and pockets. What else do I need for golfing? Perfect. Okay. So here's the neckline up here. Here's where the arms used to be. So, and if I want, there's the length. And I think I like the idea of making it a golf skirt. So I need to have the appropriate length for golfing, which is right above your kneecaps. Right there. I think that looks good. And I'm gonna put a pin. Okay, as soon as I decide on, the length that I want it, because I'm pulling it up from the waist. As soon as I decide the length I want it, I'm just gonna put a little pin here. That this is gonna be where my new waistband's gonna be. I just put a pin. You can't see that, but it's just a way to mark. Or you can use chalk and just draw a line. Now you can probably see that. So I've been a chalk line so I know where I want my new waistband to be. So let's go ahead and take this off. Okay, so I took it off, and you can see my pin and my chalk line. Now I'm just gonna make sure that it's all lined up so it's nice and straight. My side seams, everything. Want everything to be straight I'm lining up my side seams because I cut the arms out. So I just want to make sure nothing's crooked. I want it hanging straight. And now I'm gonna cut it just how it is right here. I'm gonna cut it about 2 inches above my line. And that is because I need to make a casing for elastic waist. Okay. I don't know if you can see the chalk lines or not, but I have a chalk line running right where I want my waistband, and then another chalk line that's 2 inches above it. So I'm just gonna cut right on my 2-inch chalk line. And there we go. So I have my little pen still, I still have my pen there, and I have the chalk line right along the top. That's where I'm gonna make my casing. Okay, so now that I got the top cut off, there's my bottom hem. I turned it inside out. Now what I need to do is, I'm not gonna cut down my sides just yet because I like the fact that it's holding itself together, but it is too wide for me. Remember, this is a men's 2XL. So I'm gonna slip it on as if I'm gonna be wearing it, and I'm going to pinch and pin the sides so that I can make it more fitted. And it's sticking to my leggings. But, so I'm gonna make sure my side seams are on my sides. Make sure it's, so I had to safety pin it to my shirt so that I don't actually flash you guys. Okay, so here we are. See how wide it is? All the way down. So I'm going to pinch and pin on each side. And normally I've done this before on my mannequin, but my mannequin is not my size anymore. And normally I would also use safety pins. Okay, so it's pinch and pin. I'm taking an entire length of a thumb off this side. And I'll take an entire length of a thumb off this side. Okay, so this is how easy this is. Right now I have pins in, so I'm going to be taking off the length of a thumb off each side. And since I'm doing elastic waists, what I'm going to basically do is now I'm going to just do a straight line. So I know how tight I want it to my hips. I want it right here. And now I can take it off. I only needed those, just these 2 pins, because I'm going to take a ruler and I'm going to just pin straight down from this point. Same on this side, straight down. Now I need to get my side seams done first. Casing around the waist is going to be last. So I'm going to do a basting stitch, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to go ahead and put the pockets on, because I'm going to use these as pockets so that I have a place to put my golf balls. So what I'm going to do is take this to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew with a basting stitch straight down this side and also straight down that side. Okay, let me do that real quick and then I'll be right back. Doing the basting stitch in black so that you're able to see it. I set to basting, okay. And I'm gonna back stitch or fix stitch at the beginning just so I can hold everything together. So I always leave it in the down position, the needle, and I'm just, as I go, I'm just flattening it out to make sure I have no wrinkles underneath, so everything's laying flat. Okay, I'm gonna save this button for another project. Now, very important, before you get too close to the edge of your hem, make sure it lines up exactly. You don't want your hem to be the back longer than the front, set, you know, just a little bit, because then it's going to look like it's a mistake. So I'm making sure my bottom hem is nice and matched up before I get to that edge. Okay, I'm going to do that exact same thing on the other side as well. Okay, let me go ahead and do that and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Battery went dead, so I had to wait for it to charge long enough. Okay, so while I was waiting, I did one side, and now I'm going to show you how I did it. Now I have my skirt inside out. As you can see, it's inside out. There's my hem at the bottom. And the hem actually is the bottom of the shirt. So I didn't have to actually do any real hemming. And then I cut off my excess material. See, there's the stitch, the basting stitch all the way down the side right there. I just cut some of the extra material off. See, I just cut off the excess material so it's easier to work with. Now, we need to decide the size of our pockets. Well, I've already done that, but I'm gonna show you what I did. Here is my sleeve. I cut the pocket right out of the sleeve. And since the sleeve has a front and a back, I got 2 panels, because it takes 2 panels to make one pocket, the front of the pocket and the back of the pocket. So I got 2 of these shapes cut out of each sleeve. So I did that, I cut it out, and then I took this and put it on the other sleeve, laid it on top, and then I traced it so all 4 pieces are exactly the same size. See, I have them together right now, they're sandwiched together. And I already did one side of the skirt, and I'm gonna show you how to do the other. So the first thing I need to do is I tried my skirt on and decided where I wanted my pockets. And then I just made little chalk marks where I wanted the pocket. Then, move up closer, you can see. I took the pocket and laid it down where it's gonna be, and then I traced it with a chalk line. And the reason I did that is because sometimes when you get busy sewing, you might accidentally put the pocket on upside down, and then your pocket's going up. So by making the chalk line, it keeps you focused, and so that you know you're putting your pocket on the right way. Also, the reason I do that, okay, so I got my pocket facing the right way. So I took it off, and then so that I can have the exact same shape on the other side of the skirt, because you have to sew it on, the pocket is gonna go in the middle. See, I've got pins. That is how I went, I pinned along my chalk line exactly. And then, so then when I flip it over and look at the back side, I have my pins. See, I've got all the pins. So all I had to do is follow my pin line and make the chalk line on this side. That makes the back panel exactly the same as the front panel. It makes it easy to trace. So trace it on one side, put pins all along your line, flip it over, and then you can make your other chalk line, and then they'll both be the same. It's just an easy way to trace. Otherwise, you might accidentally have the pocket higher on one side and you flip it over, and then down lower on another. It's not gonna match up when you sew. So by doing the pins, it allows you to trace it and have it exact on both sides. So let's go ahead and get started. Now what I need to do is I need to use my seam ripper, and I'm going to open up a little bit above, then the whole pocket, and then just a little bit below. Okay, I'm gonna seam rip that open, so I'm gonna be able to insert my pocket here. So let me go ahead and seam rip this, and I'll be right back. Okay, I seam ripped it open. So see, that's where I'm gonna be inserting the pocket. And I'm gonna show you how to do it. Now I do it a little bit different, and I know, those of you who are avid sewers are gonna be like, why didn't you do it this way or that way? This is just how I do it. And for me, it is, it just makes more sense for me, and that's how I do it. So I'm gonna show you how I do it. I'm gonna do a close up. So I'm gonna bring you down to the floor. Since I have a new camera, I can do that. I'm gonna take you down to the floor, and I'm gonna show you how I do it. Because this fabric it does have a wrong side and a right. It does have a wrong side and a right side. This is just easier for me. So let's go ahead and add those pockets. Okay, so here's my opening right here. I still have my skirt inside out. I have my trace, my line here, which is gonna show me exactly how my pocket is going to fit on. Make sure my fabric is nice and flat. Okay, so I'm gonna lay the pocket pieces, wrong sides, touching each other. And I'm going to be attaching, we're working with just this top panel. The top panel and this pocket. We're going to be just working with these 2 pieces right now. And this is where it's going to get kind of confusing. Okay, so I'm looking at the right side of the fabric, laid it on inside my chalk line. Here we go. And I'm only working with this piece and this top piece right here. We're working with the top piece. So, but I want to be able to sew right sides together. So I'm going to open it. I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to be working with this lip. This lip right here. I'm going to pin. I'm going to pin the 2 raw edges. Now you can picture this. So when I open it, See, I'm gonna have a nice, you're gonna be looking at both right sides of the fabric. Let me show you real quick. I'll pin it. And I'm pinning the good side of the fabric, those two raw edges together. And you don't have to pin a big, you know, a large amount of fabric, just your seam allowance. And this is how you double check to make sure that you did it right. Okay, I'm gonna lift up this panel, and if I fold it back, it's right inside the chalk line, it fits, but then I'm also looking at, I'm gonna look at a finished, both good sides of the fabric, I'm gonna be looking at a finished seam here, nice and neat. So, and I'm not working with this bottom piece of fabric is staying out of the way right now. So there we go. So then I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this to the sewing machine. I'm just gonna sew these two raw edges together. But when I'm doing that, and I'll show you, I'll move it to the sewing machine. I'm gonna make sure that I don't catch this bottom. I'm not working with the bottom yet, so I'm gonna keep that out of the way. I'm just gonna sew these two raw edges together. Okay, let's take it to the sewing machine and do that real quick. Making sure it's laid out flat. Any wrinkles? Okay. Now I'm just gonna do a straight stitch. So let's go ahead and do a fixed stitch. Or back stitch, whatever you have. I'll do a back stitch and a fixed stitch. You'll see. Get to the end, back stitch or fixed stitch. Okay, so I stitched the two raw edges together, but now look at when I flip it over, this is how it's gonna look from when I have it inside right. See this nice clean seam I got there, and I did it with black thread. I don't know if you can see it. So, and this is gonna be the pocket. So everything's gonna look finished. So now I need to take the other pocket piece and attach it to this side. Okay, so I have this pocket piece already attached. I need to do the same thing to the other side. So I have it laid on where it needs to be. Okay, laid on there. Open it up. Attach the raw edges together. Making sure that, because these two pockets are good, the two panels are gonna be sewn together eventually around this right here. So make sure that everything's lined up. Okay, pin these on. And be consistent with your seam allowance. Doesn't matter what seam allowance you use, as long as you use that on both to match up the pockets. Both panels need to be using the same seam allowance. Otherwise, when you put your skirt on, your pocket's going to be lumpy. And then your side seams won't match up very nice either. Okay, so now I got that one pinned on. Double check it, make sure it's right. See if I fold it open. I got that nice finished edge. So now I'm just sewing this part right here. This little flap right here. I'm just sewing these two raw edges together. So this is tricky. You're gonna put it on the sewing machine. Nice and flat. And the reason when we picked our seam open and we used our seam ripper, we went past our pocket size. We made the hole actually a little bit bigger so that we can get our foot in here. Our sewing foot needs to be able to fit in there. Okay, got the old pocket, or the one that we just did, out of the way. Because you don't want to actually sew your pocket shut. Get it underneath the foot. Okay, I always use the whole foot as a guideline for my seam allowance. Okay, back stitch or fixed stitch, or both. Never hurts to do both since pockets get a lot of wear and tear. Okay, fixed stitch or back stitch, or both. Okay. Okay, so now we have just the pocket attached to the front panel and the back panel, but the pocket's not done yet. So what we need to do now is match the pocket up so that it looks nice and neat. See how front and back are the same. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it to a sewing machine. Now we need to make sure that it stays, we're not gonna sew this shut because otherwise we're shutting our pocket. The inside of this has to stay open. So if you need to put a pin here and a pin here to remind yourself so you don't sew it shut, then go ahead and do so. But make sure your pocket is matched up nice and neat. Now this fabric I'm using right now is very clingy. It's sticking to itself. I don't have to use pins. And we're gonna go ahead and take it to the sewing machine, and I'm gonna hold it up like here so you can see. We're gonna sew a straight stitch. Right now we have our basting stitch down the side, remember? We picked it open just to put the pocket on. So now we're gonna take a straight stitch and we're gonna straight stitch here and then to where the pocket begins. See where the pocket begins? We're gonna go around our pocket, attaching the two pocket panels together, come to this point, and then go straight down to our hem. Got that? That's all we're gonna do, and we're gonna do a straight stitch. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so start at the top. I'm just gonna sew right over my basting stitch. I'm not gonna bother to remove it. Do a back stitch or a fixed stitch when you start. And we're gonna sew all the way down till we get to the pocket. Okay, make sure my needle's in the down position. I left my needle in the down position, and now I'm gonna rotate. And now I'm gonna go around the pocket. Okay. Okay, now that we have our pockets, it kind of looks funny. See, they look like ears. Got our pockets on our little skirt. The next thing is easy. Do our channel. I fold it down an inch, so I'm gonna create a channel. Now I'm gonna take this to the sewing machine and I'm gonna sew right along the bottom of this channel all the way around. Put a pin or something to remind yourself, or make a little chalk mark. Make a big X. So I'll make a big X right there. That's letting me know don't sew it shut, because we want to be able to feed the elastic through. So I'm gonna take this to the sewing machine real quick. I'm gonna sew around my channel, leaving where this X is, leaving it open so I can feed my elastic through. And then we are almost done. I've already pre-measured my elastic. I went about an inch. I pulled it comfortably snug, and then I plan on having about an inch overlap so I can sew them together. So put it around your waist, see where it's comfortable. You don't want to be too loose where it slides off, but you don't want to be too tight where it's going to cause a muffin top either. So just go ahead and wrap it around your waist, decide what size is most comfortable for you, but always keep in mind is you will overlap an inch so we can sew them together. Okay, well, let me sew my channel and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I've sewn my channel. As you can see, there's a little bit of a lip. You can see my little line. Okay, we're gonna feed the elastic through. So I put a safety pin at the end of one end of my elastic, but then the other, because this happens to me a lot, when you're feeding it through, you might forget about the one side and end up, it feeds through and it gets caught inside the channel. So I safety pin it right to the opening so that while I'm feeding it, I don't lose my tail. It doesn't get stuck in the channel. So make sure that your elastic is nice and flat so you don't have any rolls. And you're gonna feed it through, and the safety pin makes it easy for you to grab and pull it through. So you're just gonna feed that safety pin all the way through your channel until it comes out the other side. Okay, so now it's fed all the way through. I have both my safety pins out the front of the hole. Double check and make sure you didn't get twisted. And in this case, I did get twisted. So let me untwist it and pull it out. Okay, make sure it's nice and smooth, that there's no twists in your elastic, which I had one, I had to undo it. Okay, now grab the tail that you have safety pinned to the skirt or your garment. Unpin it. And now, I get the front and the back. Pull it down so you have room to work. Now we're gonna take it to the sewing machine. And I'm not gonna show this part because it's that easy. You're just gonna take it, overlap it by about an inch, see? And then just sew all over it, different directions with the zigzag stitch, because zigzag, this is gonna stretch and it's gonna break if you have a straight stitch. So zigzag stitch just all over the place, just so it's nice and secure. And then voila, once you straighten out the elastic, it's gonna pop right into that channel and it'll be done. So let me sew it and then I'll show you, and then that's it. I'll turn it inside right and we'll see how it looks. Okay, I'll be right back. So I zigzagged all over it, as you can see. It doesn't have to be pretty because no one's gonna see it. And then all you do is pull in it and then it disappears. So my waistband is done. All I need to do is take it back to the sewing machine and just close up that little hole. That's not gonna take, it's that little tiny 1-inch hole I left to feed it through. All I have to do is go back and close it up right here. And then, as I turn it inside right, look at my little golf skirt. And my golf skirt has matching pockets there that you don't see them. Now you could use contrast, you know, I use the sleeve to make my pockets. Now you could, if I had yellow fabric, I would have done bright yellow. If I would have had hot pink, even hot pink would have been kind of cool. You could have had a contrasting colors to make the pocket obvious. But you know, I'll be golfing with this. So I'm just want something that's non-obvious, and I keep my tees and my golf balls in. So doesn't that turn out cute? Okay, well let me go ahead and I'm gonna close up that little hole real quick and I'm gonna try it on and we'll see how it looks. I tried it on, I love it. This is one of my golf shirts. It matches it. It matches it. I'm so excited. Here we go. Okay, so here's the skirt. Look at, here's the waistband of the skirt. This used to be the shirt, remember? Elastic waist. But look at this. Got my pockets, so I can put my golf balls, my golf tees in. Oh, I am so excited. I gotta show you how well these match too. Ignore my dirty floor. When I'm sewing, I get scraps all over. So here we go. See? Got my pockets. Oh, this is gonna be a great golf skirt. So wasn't that easy? I just took a double extra large men's Tiger Woods golf shirt and made pockets out of sleeves and made a skirt out of the torso of the shirt. And I'm in love with it. I am so excited. I cannot wait to wear this golfing. So there's a refashion project for you. And this can be done with t-shirts. It doesn't have to be a men's polo. It could be with any type of shirt. You're just using the torso of the shirt. It could be a long sleeve button down and, you know, and then you have a button down skirt. It could be anything. It's just even though my taste might not be the same as yours, but at least this gives you an idea of something you can do with a fabric or a shirt or something that you like, and you can make it your own. So, okay then, well, this is Amy with Fashion Toppings. Until next time, I hope you have a great day.